And just like that, the final piece of the players that are expected to be traded from the Orlando Magic has been traded, and that is Aaron Gordon. He's heading to the Denver Nuggets in exchange for Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, and a first-round pick. I don't know if there's going to be any protections on that pick. I highly doubt it because the Denver Nuggets are a clear-cut playoff team. So that should be interesting. And, you know, for Aaron Gordon, he's been, and I always say this because like it's kind of a running joke at this point with me, is he's probably the best player that I forget is an actual NBA player. That doesn't mean he's bad by any stretch of the imagination, because of the fact that he's actually pretty good. He does a lot. He can somewhat pass. He's an athletic kind of guy. He's improved his three-point perimeter skills. He can defend multiple positions. He can do a bunch of stuff like that. But he really hasn't like progressed into like what I thought he could be, or what many thought he could be. But that doesn't change the fact that he is a player we're trading for if you're looking to contend. And him and because I just made a Vucevic video. Him, Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. That's a fun court in my opinion, and that could work. Right now this season he's averaging 15, 7, and 4, which is pretty solid, I would say. His 3-point numbers are at a career high. He's somebody, you know, that I just think would fit really well with Denver. But for the Magic, who again make another big trade to basically blow up their entire roster, they get, you know, some interesting pieces in return. Gary Harris is another one of those names I kind of always forget about, even though I know he's a pretty solid player. Nothing special. I remember like early on in his career, people were talking about him like, oh, he could be like Devin Booker. And people thought that, like, not all people, but there were definitely some people that thought he should be in the same breath as guys like Devin Booker. Clearly hasn't turned out that way. You know, he's a lot of years removed from that almost 18-point per game season now. He's basically been dealing with injuries, things like that, don't know too much. But the piece I'm very excited about is RJ Hampton. RJ Hampton is a piece I'm very excited about. If you don't know, RJ Hampton was somebody that was a top 5 recruit coming out of high school. He didn't go to college. He decided to go to the NBL to play overseas. You know, he entered that season as like a projected top 10 pick. You know, I wouldn't say he had a bad season. I just think he had a hard time adjusting because he went from playing on ball almost his entire life to playing off ball, which is an adjustment to make. I think in the long run, though, it will be the benefit that he did take this route, even if it didn't go with his draft stock. He falls to the 24th pick. Hasn't played too much, only averages 9 minutes per game, only 3 points, 2 rebounds. You know, this hasn't gotten a lot of opportunity, which makes sense because they are a playoff team. He's definitely a project player. Hopefully he will start to get more opportunity in Orlando, because there's going to be a lot of guard minutes. Evan Fournier is not there anymore. You look at, you know, Marco Fultz is done for the season. We don't know what's going on with Cole Anthony, so RJ has a chance to finally kind of prove himself a bit more. I don't think it's going to be like necessarily go 100% well, because he definitely has flaws in his game, but he will get, you know, the chances, trial and error, you know, get to learn from his mistakes from getting more play time. So I'm excited for that. I think he has a decent amount of potential, and you know, I'm happy for him that he's finally probably going to get that chance to get minutes. But for Orlando, they just had another young player. You know, they get RJ Hampton. They added Wendell Carter Jr. Hopefully they'll start playing Mo Bamba just to see if it was like the team holding him back, or if like he's just not that good. We'll finally get to learn that. Hopefully at least. And Orlando, they're just rebuilding, and they had another first round pick. Now I don't know what this pick is gonna be, but you know, there's adding draft capital, and it's clear what they're doing. They're tanking. Like, it's kind of obvious, but you know, we'll see what goes on. I think for Denver, they get a really good player, and they really didn't have to give up too much, in my opinion, that would hinder their roster to get him. Like, RJ Hampton has potential, but like he wasn't really playing. Jesus Christ. Gary Harris is someone that's dealt with injuries hasn't been the greatest, and you get Aaron Gordon, who could probably make an impact, and we'll see how it goes.